Everyone, welcome to FMA Talk, Martial Chronicles. I'm your host, Datu Tim, with my co-host.
PG Tye, hey.
And today we're going to have I'm looking forward to having a fun show.
Should be good.
It ought to be entertaining, to say the least. One of our more flamboyant watchers is going to be on, Rene Growling Dog Cocolo, and we're going to just freestyle this whole thing. We're not worried too much on format because he's not a Modern East guy, and I don't have Modern East questions for him, but that's okay. Let me see who has shown up. All right, so right off the bat, Canadians come to support Rene. That's Jeremy Gaudette. Hey, how you doing, Jeremy?
Hey, Jeremy.
You know what? I'm just going to hop right in. Now, so first of all, please, everybody, if you're watching this, go to YouTube if you're not watching it there, because that's the best place to see it, so you can interact. And Greg here, how you doing, Greg? But as always, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos if you enjoy them, and even if you don't, please feel free to share these wherever you want. So with no further ado, from the Great White North, Rene Growling Dog Cocolo. How you doing, Rene?
I'm doing well. I've been called a lot of things. Flamboyant is one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
Well, we could say controversial, but we'll figure that one out.
Oh God,
I guess the viewers will figure that all by themselves.
I suppose. I guess. Yeah. Maybe a little bit outspoken. I don't know about controversial.
Well, it's all good. So we've got two Canadians already logged in to watch the food fight. I mean, to watch the show. And so Rene, for those who don't know Rene has been doing martial arts for quite some time. He's up in the Metro Toronto area. I met him via one of my guys, Craig Mason, who is a dog brother candidate, and hopefully, if he goes to the tribal gathering in California, he'll be ascended up to the next level.
Oh, no doubt.
But I've known a bunch of the dog brothers through the years, and you're doing an event up at your place, which we're going to talk about. I walked in, didn't say much. I introduced, and Rene was a very good host. Philip Jelinas was there, and I didn't tell anybody who I was. I was just supporting the event, made a donation, and we'll talk about the event. And next thing you know, Philip calls me up. I go, "Hey, Tim Hartman's here," and I'm like, what? And I started supporting that group whenever I could. A few different events that were happening there in other locations, and but I really don't want to really get into it. I want you to tell the story. I want to ask some questions here. So, Rene,
yes, sir.
When did you first start training martial arts?
I started when I was pretty young. Like, I kind of lived all over the world before I ended up in Canada. So wherever I went, there was always some sort of conflict with, my background, where I'm from, or wherever else. So, I was getting my ass kicked a lot, and my parents thought, well, my dad especially thought, I got to get this guy into some sort of training. So he doesn't come home with a black eye every second day or every week sort of thing. So I started boxing when I was younger.
Okay.
Then when I, throughout the years, I'll skip a decade or two. And then when I moved to Canada, I started Thai boxing. And then from Thai boxing, I met one of my first, real, I would say, martial arts instructors, Makoto Kabayama, who I studied Jeet Kune Do with for a couple of decades. And then I got kind of branched out into, all the other kind of martial arts. So I've been dipping my feet into everything, especially when it came to when I became a dog brother, or when I started doing the whole dog brothers thing. It really made me kind of seek out different arts and see what I can use for my lunchbox sort of thing.
Nice. Now, for those who know nothing, I think everyone does know, but we're going to cover all the bases. What the hell is the dog brother?
All right. I'll give you the Cole's Notes version or the short version of it.
Mhm.
Back in the 80s, there's a bunch of gentlemen who decided to get together, and they were doing all the weak half style fighting, and they were wearing a lot of gear, and a few of them kind of got together. A few of them, there's three of them. It was Mark Denny, Eric Knaus, and Arlen Sanford. Kind of decided that, hey, maybe we should get together and maybe not wear as much gear and kind of like really fight and see what happens. Like even back in the day when I was training in Jeet Kune Do and I started learning about, Kali, Renes, and whatever else. You hear these stories. Oh, if you hit your arm will blow up, and your kids are gonna be born with curly hair. It's the deadliest thing in the world. And these guys said, okay, let's see if this really happens. So they went out there and had 3 days of fighting. Fast forward uh, 30, almost 40 years, it kind of grew, right? So it grew into this phenomenon that it is now, where in the 40 years that's been going on, there's only 300 full dog brothers in the world. It kind of gives you an idea of, the like how can I put this? It's a different breed of person. I'm not saying I'm special by any means. Not when it comes to martial arts. It's just a bunch of guys that really want to go out there and test whatever they're trained to see if it works. There's a lot of things that I used to do before I started fighting full contact with sticks that just didn't work in real life for me. And there's a lot of things that weren't involved. Like, when I first started doing, again, Kali, like nobody, like in class, we never punched each other or kicked each other or elbowed each other or closed the gap, picked each other, picked each other up over our heads and threw us across the room. Right, that wasn't really involved. So it kind of brought a different reality into what I was doing. And again, it kind of teaches you how to train in that adrenal state, right? Like I used to, when I was a kid, you might find this hard to believe, but I used to get into a lot of trouble. And I used to know people who were fantastic martial artists, but then they got into like a real life situation, and they weren't used to that kind of violence or aggression that was happening. So it would kind of shut their training down, if that makes sense. And yeah, so fast forward, first Canadian dog brother was Philip Jelna, Duhan's Philip, who's a sled dog. The second guy was Loki out of BC, who's also one of Philip's students, Tricky Dog. And then I became the third back in 2010. Yeah, and I got Philip to name me. And if you know Philip, that can be kind of nerve wracking because I have no idea what he's going to name me. Luckily, luckily he picked a Growling dog because I had no idea what he was going to do. So that's the long and short of it. Like as far as why I joined the Dog Brothers, like back in 2000, I think it was like 2007. I kind of given up on martial arts. There's a lot of there's a lot of politics going on in the group I was training with, and I kind of had enough of the bullshit. It's like I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like all bummed out, sitting in front of my computer. Might have been drinking a little bit of whiskey. I'm not gonna lie. And I started like going on YouTube, and I remember, back in 1991, I was at a training camp where Philip had taught. I'm like, oh, Dog Brothers, what those guys are up to these days. The more I drank, I was like, I'm gonna send these guys an email. I'm gonna go to a gathering, right? And that's how I kind of got sucked into that. It kind of took me out of retirement at the time. Went back to training because it was about me, not about anything else.
So was let me ask something. So was sparring kind of something that was always in the forefront of your interests, or was that something that you developed into when you found things didn't work quite the way maybe it was?
It's funny because I used to love boxing and I love Thai boxing. There's something about it which I really like. There's a reality about it which I really enjoy, and I absolutely hated any kind of weapons training. I hated Kali. I hated. It just didn't make any sense to me. I was uncoordinated. I would fake my way through drills in class. Even when I went to an Inistano seminar, Like people are doing all this cool stuff and saying all these cool names, and I'm like, haha, I have no idea what I'm doing because I don't like this. And it wasn't until I saw Philip at that one camp, and we were moving around a little bit, where I was like, okay, there's something to that. I'm not 100% sure what it is yet, but especially when I was doing like knife sparring or knife dueling, I saw how the footwork was changing the way I box and the way I move, and I was like, there's something here. Like I want to check this. I want to dive into this a bit deeper, not thinking I would dive into the, as deep as I went. Um, but yeah, like once, and again, I used to hate stick fighting because fucking things hurt, right? Like when you get hurt,
Right.
when these things hit you, it's not, especially when you have someone with bad intentions swinging at you. I've had a couple marks that lasted a month or two.
I was gonna say it's not that they hurt right then, but they also keep hurting, right?
Yeah, and that, I've broken a lot of bones in my career as a stick fighter. Like the worst I had is I had my ulna broken, not knowing that it was broken while I was still fighting. And it's again, it just the reality of it. It's just something that I fell in love with, and then you meet these people around you, and it's just like everybody's like the same interest. The one thing I love about the Dog Brothers, we have like scientists, police officers, guys that change your tires, and people who you would normally never speak to, like you never speak to in any other kind of social setting, and then you get together with everybody. It's like, wow, these guys are pretty cool, except for me.
Nice.
All right, so real quick, Jagbert, I don't know if you know him. I can't say that I do. He's not one of my. Here, he says hello. Rich Parsons from Michigan says hello, and another Canadian from up north, Evan Mason, says hello.
Nice.
Oh, and look, his father, Craig Mason, says hello. Look, so we have people beginning to chime in here.
Craig's, Craig's awesome. Like even going back to what you were saying, like we had the first Beat the Crap Out of Cancer in October of 2009, and we put that event together in 2 weeks, and we had like people show up from all different disciplines, from your camp and from other camps. And we all got
Speaking of
together.
which, let's get into that. What is the Beat the Crap? I mean, because that's how I met everybody up there, or in your network. What is the Beat the Crap Out of Cancer? How did it start? Where has it gone to today?
So, Beat the Crap Out of Cancer, going back to 2008, 2007, my group partner and I, Tyler Morin, we were trying to get together some people to fight because we were fighting each other all the time. And I really don't like that. I'd rather have people that we've never met before, kind of like the same thing that the Dog Brothers kind of happens at a gathering where you show up, hey, I don't know, you want to fight? And that's scary, but it brings, again, a little bit more realism into it. So we said, okay, let's get some people together and do some scrapping. And on the way home one day, I was like, man, let's turn this into a charity, because I just I had a friend of mine passed away from lung cancer. And Tyler's mom had passed away from cancer, and it's like, man, I wish we could do something to raise some money. And and we're just like playing back and forth with names, and Tyler's like, well, let's beat the crap out of cancer, and the name kind of stuck. Since then, my father had cancer. I've had other family members who survived cancer, and anyway, so October 9th, 2009, 2008, 2009, we had 47 people show up at the Fighting Arts Academy. Belongs to John Zerger, who's also a Dog Brother. And so we just beat each other up. And at first it was kind of funny because you have people who are showing up with like the full weak half gear, and then like I have like a mouth guard and a mask.
Right.
And we're like staring at each other. But the cool thing is that towards the end of the event, people just kind of started taking some of the gear off, or we switch gear. It's like, okay, I'm going to try this thing, and like I'm going to try that helmet, and you try my mask, and it just, at first we weren't sure if it was going to happen again. And then when I fought just a few months before an actual gathering, and I went to LA, and I was like, man, we just did this thing, it was and I spoke to some of the brothers, and they're like, let's have it in some other cities. So, anyways, from 2009 to present, obviously COVID kind of had put things on ice for us for a couple of years. Like, some guys are still having events, but not as big as we normally have it. So we have it across North America and in Europe as well. And people are calling from all over the place that want to start their own kind of chapter of beat the crap out of cancer. It actually started kind of becoming a feeder program for the dogbrothers as well, because a lot of people want to go to a gathering, but they're like, man, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get mashed up too bad. And then they go to a beat the crap and they're like, oh, if I can survive this, then I can do the next step, right? It's kind of like, it's a way of dangling the carrot in front of people. It's like, well, you did really well. You should come join us over here. Come to this side. And go ahead.
I was just sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So you guys are raising some money? It sounds like you have the capability of raising some serious money for the cause.
Yeah, I think the last event that we had before COVID hit in Canada, we raised, I think, around 50 to 60,000.
Nice.
So on average, over the last 13 years, 14 years, we've been raising between 40 and 60,000, which is not bad for a bunch of guys bashing each other with sticks.
That's great.
Right. And, like, I've tried getting sponsors, and I've tried, here's where the Rene factor kind of kicks in, because, it's like, man, maybe we can get some celebrities and stuff, people that I've worked with in the past, to like give us a shout out or something. And I won't mention this, even though I'm dying to tell you who these people are. It's like, like, oh yeah, well, I'd love to promote your event. How much are you going to pay me? And I remember speaking to one guy, and it was like a Zoom call, like we're having right now. And I was like, we're staring at each other, and I'm like, I'm paying you fuck all, man. Like, I want you to do this out of the kindness of your heart, and spread the word. So far, like, Doug Marcada is one of the only people who've actually, besides our own circle of people, has actually gone out there and promoted it. So it's shout out to Doug.
So they know it's a fundraiser, right? So one of the things people may be reticent about is the fact that maybe a lot of other charities or activities and things like that, they not all of it goes to the target.
No.
In your case, I bet that's not the case.
No, and I've been audited a couple times just to make sure. Like, we literally, we will pay for our operating costs, which normally, if we have the space donated or whatever, I normally have a nurse or two on site, and other than that, like 100% of it goes to that charity.
Excellent.
It's just the way it's got to be, right?
Right.
And and I think the cool thing too is, at first I was getting kind of ticked off, because it's like, man, a lot of people are doing kind of like piggybacking and doing stuff that's similar, and it's kind of taken away from what we're doing. But then I said to myself, as long as the money goes to a charity, who cares? And it's funny because it kind of brings like the weirdos out of the woodwork sometimes too, right? It's like, I had one dude call me up, like, I don't know how you even got my personal phone number. And he's like, hey, I hear you give to the Cancer Society. I was like, yeah. He goes, well, why would you do that? I'm like, well, because they're the only ones that want to take the money. I tried asking other people. When they found out what we do, they're like, no, it's not what we want to be associated with.
Oh, okay.
And he gave me this big, like, well, I would never give them money for this or that and the other. And I finally asked him, like, who do you give money to? He goes, well, nobody. And that's when I told him to, shut the F up.
Nice. Yep.
Again, I'm working on my swearing.
Okay.
I'm doing pretty good so far.
Yeah,
keep telling yourself that. So from Connecticut, Frank says hello, and then Mr. Hiltz, Go Team Canada. There we go. Larry from Durango, Colorado.
Wicked.
Yeah, we know that place actually exists because Larry came and visited us this last week.
Oh, you guys had your camp last week, right?
We did basically an immersion seminar, which is our Black Belt Prep series. And then we did a 5-day, but ended up being a 9-day workout. And Ty was, he rolled in last week, Friday, and then took off on Saturday.
He has a tendency of being late, though, isn't he?
No, he's actually. Well, that's just from work. And then Larry was here. He flew home Saturday morning, and then Craig got there Sunday, and Ty and Craig went home more or less the same time.
Yeah, so, I gotta say, like, Craig's a machine. Like, I remember I was teaching a class in a park one day, and that dude drove down for like 4 hours to train for an hour and a half, then drove back home. I was like,
oh my God.
Like,
I mean,
like
so he's 4 hours from you. He would drive to Buffalo, which is 6 hours, do a session, and then drive home. Like, I used to do that to Detroit to do my Blintz walk. So I'm thinking, all right, that's 8 hours, no big deal. He's doing 12 hours of driving today just to train with me. I'm like, you must not have anyone to train with up there. If you're gonna come this far down, at least spend the night. And then, but you know, friends, family, all that other fun stuff he's got to do. But yeah, he's a road warrior.
It blew me away. I was just doing like a Krabi class in a park, and like this car pulls up, and he gets out of the car, and we're training. It was like a small class. There's like 4 of us there, and like literally like an hour and a half later, I'm like, so are you hanging out in town? He's like, no, I'm going home. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I got a cooler full of water. He's like, drives home. I was like, dude, it took me half an hour to get here, and I'm pissed off. I got to drive a half an hour back. So like the other thing, the cool thing about the Dog Brothers, like I was saying before, with the exposing to different martial arts, was eventually I started learning about different stick arts, and weapons art. And something I mentioned a while back. The one thing about stick fighting, a lot of people start thinking, oh, it's a stick fight. And for me, it's no, I'm in a fight. I just happen to have a stick in my hand. And the more I learn from different arts, the more I get to use. And that's kind of what drew me into the Krabi Krabong, which is, Arlen Sanford. Which is kind of funny because when I think Arlen knows this, if he doesn't, he's about to find out. But when I first learned about, I saw a Krabi Krabong video, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what are these guys dancing around for? This is nonsense. Right? I was just whatever, like, just crazy. Then he came to a camp where he knocked me out, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll try that. That seems like the commonality for me to do something is I got hurt real bad, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should hang out with that dude for a bit. Which he and I did. Oh man, like there's a video on YouTube where you can. It was at Want to Beat the Crap out of Cancers, and we decided to fight. And Arlen fights with pointy sticks.
Yes, he does.
Which again, it's a little bit on the extreme side. But again, it's always about pushing yourself and kind of seeing, how far you can take it. And yeah, he knocked me out. Like he knocked me out cold. Like I remember when I remember seeing him and the lights going out, and then like looking up at the lights, thinking, "What am I doing here?" And I actually felt underneath my mask to make sure that my head's still in one piece. And it's like, man, that guy. And I don't know if you ever seen his mask. He had he's got like a first generation fencing mask that he unfolded. It was in his back pocket, and he put it on. It's like, okay, let's go. Yeah, he's a different individual. So, and that's the thing too. I really got a chance to kind of meet a lot of the original guys and fight with them. I fought with Sled Dog. He actually almost knocked me out with a soft stick, which is something we spoke about. We chatted about on one of your shows as well. Arlen just knocked me plain out with a regular stick, and Eric Canals cracked through my ribs. So it's like, wow, it's like my body is like a shrine to these people that I train with.
Signatures. Well, I imagine with all that shared, the shared stress, right? You get to be a pretty tight knit group, right? That trench bonding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I talk to my brothers and sisters like daily. A couple guys from California, I talk to them every single day, and if it's just to say hello, just that's the way we are. But again, it's just like that's the thing I was kind of missing with some of the other, and you guys, I'm pretty sure, have seen the politics and bullshit in martial arts. We've managed to kind of, and mind you, I've been a big part, one of my younger years especially, I was a big part and a lot of that stuff. But as I got older and I got together with this group, it just seems to be a little bit less. And a little bit less was good enough for me at that point, right? Or is good.
Well, nothing like a good reality check to season things.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of like a self-policing group too, which I kind of like. I got kind of a funny story about my very first gathering. So in 2007, I went down by myself. You know, I was sitting in an airplane, thinking, "Why the hell am I doing this?" Fly down to LA. I had met nobody. I went, this is when I was still kind of like jogging and trying to be healthy, and
Mm-hmm.
I was staying at the Hyatt in Burbank, and I went for a jog, and I got pulled over by a cop because I had a bandana on, like I'm covered in tattoos, and the guy's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm going for a jog." That's when I realized I was like running through some sort of gang territory, wearing the wrong colors.
Right.
And instead of that, I said, "Hey, can you give me a ride back to the hotel?" He's like, "No." And like they followed me, so I was like, running with a stitch in my side.
Right.
But anyways, get to my first gathering, and there's a couple dudes there that just didn't have the same kind of you could tell that they were just trying to show off, kind of trying to cherry pick their fights a little bit. And so this kind of gives you an idea of my personality a little bit, where I was kind of like, well, maybe I'm going to play a trick on one of these guys. I grabbed this stick and I went to the side of the mat, and I was waving it like Harry Potter, just doing like crazy movements.
Nice.
And this dude walked up to me like with a big smile. He's like, "Oh, how long you been doing this?" I'm like, "Oh, I've just started, man. I watched a bunch of videos and I can't wait to try this out."
Nice.
And so you could tell when the guy turned around, he had like a smile on his face. He's like, "Oh, maybe you and I should fight." I was like, "Okay, cool." He completely underestimated me, which is like another thing which I kind of like to do is like play with
Nice.
people's heads when we're doing these things. So he had this like massive club of a stick, and we tap sticks, and he swings, he cracks me in the ribs, and I run backwards as fast as I can. And I swear to God, I could see him smiling through his mask, like, "I got this guy." And then I stopped and I ran at him, and he did one of those like deer in the headlights, and I managed to like basically smack the mask right off his head. And he went to sleep, and Pappy Dog and another guy that was with him came up and they're like, "You're that guy from Canada, Rene, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, Philip told us about you." He's like, "You're a bit of an asshole, but we like you." Because they realized I kind of lured that guy in a little bit, right? But
Nice.
again, it just that
It's
bullying
not,
nonsense
listen, he
doesn't
set
work for us.
himself up.
He set himself up.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I used to
Yeah.
fight SCA and I would fence, I had the basic white jacket as opposed to all the frilly ones that everyone else would do. And they would all come up to me and like, we'd do an event and say, "Hey, okay, we got new people here, let's spar." And I walked up and I was the first one everyone wanted to spar, because I have this nice brand new white jacket. And then they found out very quickly that I may have been brand new at fencing, but I've been doing Filipino martial arts for over a decade, and their angles were completely different. So let me see here. We have someone from the Philippines
There's some
saying
dudes out there
hello.
who just howdy.
Billy says hello. Billy Jewell.
Maganda Gabaga.
Yeah, and then Miguel Ruby from Sacramento, and then Larry. What does Larry say? It was awesome camp. The fact that Ty and Craig beat on me for about 10 hours straight every day, and Datu's dog tried to kill me every night. We won't talk about that. Let's go to the next comment. So I was there. I remember that fight. And then a Fuller fight. Hi from Brandywine, Maryland. Would to beat the crap out of cancer here in this area.
Would love to have one, I think, is what they meant. Yeah.
So if someone wanted to do something like that, how does one go about that?
Good question.
Yeah, excellent question. First thing is just reach out, contact me, tell me what you want to do. The number one thing now is it's kind of become organic, where it's kind of flowing on its own a little bit. Like, we still have a group of guys that kind of people, I should say, that decide, whether it's a good idea to have it in that part of town or not. But having a charity, preparing a charity, making sure you speak to them first. I'll tell you right now, we had a hell of a time trying to find a charity that would accept money from us because they thought we're crazy. Like it's like you're hitting each other with weapons, and it's not just like sticks. You can fight with whatever, right? And some people just get freaked out by that. But once you have those key ingredients, give me a call and I'll help you. I'll do whatever I can to make sure it happens. And our community is pretty big, and if it doesn't have to be Dog Brothers. We have friends in every corner, and I'll put you in touch with whoever I know to help you out and make it happen. Like I always say, the more the scarier, right?
Is there any special besides checking with who you're doing it for? Any special considerations like I don't know ordinances or liabilities or anything like that you've had to navigate?
Yeah, insurance is always a good thing. It's very hard to come by, and depending on the different athletic commissions, they may just not want to have your event. So I'm kind of like I don't care, like if you gotta. I'm raising money. I'm having fun. I'm doing what I want to do, and that's kind of how I feel about it. But if you're running, and again, I have a day job, right? So um, I teach, I do seminars and everything else. But in the long run, my job is what makes me money. So that's what allows me kind of to do whatever the hell I want and kind of say whatever I want because I don't care. Um, but if you have a school where liability is an issue, or depending on what state you're in or province you're in, where they may say, hey, like we don't want this, then you're gonna have to navigate that, right? Like I beat the crap. We normally try to keep like we've had a couple kids fight, and by kids fights I mean like soft sticks, and they're not like fights. I'm not like drop kicking a kid across the room. But we encourage people to come in and have a good time, and at any age.
Great.
I think one of my favorite fights was fighting like three 10-year-olds at the same time. And then Philip kicking my feet, so I tripped. These kids they're beating me like I owe them money. It was a beautiful thing.
Nice.
But yeah, like definitely, I guess it goes province by province and state by state. I remember Tim a long while back. You were telling me about in Canada there was some stuff with the athletic commission. They were looking at stick fighting as well, if I'm not mistaken. So and again, it's not that I was too cool for school with it. I just didn't care. It's like again, I have a day job, so my school is not affected because I don't really have one. That is water, by the way, in case you're wondering.
I just
Sure it is.
or something.
And this is just
start exploring.
Let me see here.
That'd be perfect.
Let me see. We had a hello from Darren.
Hey, Darren.
And then typo. I would love to have. Okay, no problem. All right. Well, listen. I didn't get a chance to update this, but let me. It will go out. In
hey, who do you train with in Albuquerque? Sorry, I'm making out my very small screen. Does this say Albuquerque there?
It says BTC.
Oh no, never mind.
Yeah, apologies. Okay, so let me. I didn't.
It's really small. I'm not wearing glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. Rich says you're drinking moonshine.
Nice.
Is that it?
Someone gave me some at a thing.
Right.
Hey, you mentioned something earlier, Rene, about your brothers and sisters, and so I thought that begged a question for me that I don't think people probably have a good sense for. Obviously, there's women that do this too. How many of those are there? And I don't know any neat stories you can talk about.
Well, my wife fights, which I think was pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Actually, just before we had our daughter, Rahel was she was at a gathering.
Nice.
And again, it's kind of nice because our household is kind of like as soon as we walk in, we're play fighting all the time. So, And
I've seen that movie.
as as restrictions are lifting, it's like even my wife was recently just saying, "Hey, I'd like to fight at a gathering again." I was like, "Oh, okay, yes."
Nice.
It motivates me to get back into like fighting shape, which is be able to walk around the block without wheezing.
Okay.
There's a lot of women who fight, especially in Europe. There's a lot of women who fight, and when I mean fight, I'm not saying like they fight at to any same level that any of the guys do. Like it is full out. You're there to fight, and I actually encourage, and they're starting to encourage it more. I don't know so much about. Well, I'll just speak for myself, or I encourage the women that train with me to fight with men as well.
Mhm.
For a couple different reasons, especially with dealing with the adrenal state, just dealing with someone, the weapon should be the equalizer. And in my head, I always say, a woman's more than likely going to be attacked by a man, so why not learn to deal with that kind of energy instead of just saying, no, you can only fight another woman. Like, to me, that's absolute bullshit, right? It's just it, right? Like when we go to a gathering, there's no weight class because again, you want to push yourself
Right.
To your limit. So why should it be any different? Like to me, it makes no difference. Like when my wife and I train, I don't take it easy on her. Like I just we scrap it out, and she hits really really hard.
Sometimes a lot of women hold back less.
Yeah, there's no ego. It's survival, which is a beautiful thing, right? Like I just find even when I was boxing, some of the women that were in the place that I was boxing, they there wasn't the ego involved. It was just I have bad intentions and I want to hurt you. And to me, that again, uh, I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice. No, it's good. I like what you said too about the always play fighting in the house. One of my first kung fu instructors was in kung fu. There's no cheating. So you're out at dinner or something like that. Well, right in the middle, right in the middle. Loved it.
Yeah, my son, I'll say, punch, and he'll punch, and I'll punch, and he headbutts me. It's like, okay, well,
That works.
I'll give you. It kind of reminds me. People tell me about, they ask me like, what's my first experience like with hitting someone real hard, and this is when I was back in Switzerland. I had an uncle from Spain that was visiting, and when grown-ups go, punch me as hard as you can, right? And they put their hands on their hips.
Right.
And I broke my uncle's nose. I just punched him square in the face, and he was so embarrassed. He picked up and left. He didn't speak to us for like 10 years. He was
Well,
really
was that a good thing
upset
or
and
a bad
embarrassed
thing?
by it.
Yeah.
Well, my dad loved it because he didn't particularly like him.
Oh, there you go. You see, in
But
my family, that would have been a good thing.
So, and my mom was like, why? And like I was trying to explain, you can't hit people like that.
Well,
Like, he
then
said,
you shouldn't say "hit me as hard as you can."
Right.
yes, exactly.
You just did what he asked. You're
So
being
yeah,
very-
yeah, I think it's I remember in 2009 or 2012, one of the times that I got a chance to actually play with Top Dog and Eric Knaus, who's like the fighting force of the Dog Brothers. Nicest guy in the world. When I remember like talking to him on the phone, and he was like, "Hey man, like you and I should fight." And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And when I hung up, I'm like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, what are you saying? You never even met this guy." And I picked him up at the airport, and he's like, "Rene," and he runs over and he gives me a hug, and my nose is at his sternum, and I was like, "Man, this is gonna really, this is gonna really suck for me." And so we're in a field. It was like we're in this field, like super windy, and he's warming up, and the wind's blowing towards him, and he swung a stick, and I felt the breeze coming towards me, and I was like, "This is really gonna suck for me." And he's got his like really shitty helmet on his head, and he goes, "Rene, it's my duty as your friend to hit you as hard as I can. And he and he put his mask down, and I instantly, I think I actually peed myself a little bit, but I survived. But that's the kind of thing that I want. I don't want people to lie to me. I don't want to hang out with a bunch of guys where, where the same guys hitting each other, and it's like we start telling each other how good we are,
Mhm.
because then that breeds that kind of like bullshit stick fighting, and I kind of see that quite a bit where it's like, watch this amazing stick fight, and the guys are talking to each other, and like one guy taps the other guy, and they're laughing. It's like, oh, great hit, Stan. No, man. Like for 2 minutes, we shouldn't be friends, right? Let's just really kind of go after it. And then afterwards, I can tell you, man, when you hit me, that really sucked, and I got to work on that. Instead of you blowing up my ego, and then I go fight some dude for real, and he frog stomps, right?
Right.
Sorry, I was about to go into a tirade. I stopped myself.
No, you're good. You're good.
like there's no tirades on this show.
Oh, well, we just started.
Right.
Like I've never had those, right?
But you know what I mean, right? Like you've probably seen it as well. You go to a gym that you know, and then you walk in, and these guys are saying we're badasses, and we know the system, we know that,
Yeah.
and it's like you're like, wow. It's like all I see is just a bunch of guys slapping each other's butts and saying, your ego is out of control.
I hear you. Well, let's catch up with a couple of comments. So
Sure.
I'm sure it's moonshine, yeah, and probably. But here's the one. Let's see, allure fight. This can't be the same thing, Ty, but let's find out here. He goes, I trained with Mike the Mongoose. Now we know Grandmaster Mike the Mongoose Hess, who was trained with the Dog Brothers. Don't know him for how long. It can't be the same Mongoose, can it? No, okay. We know a Mongoose Grandmaster in the Philippines that actually can stop time. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So, okay, good thing it's not the same Mongoose.
Right.
Yeah, the Philippines is.
So sorry, what was his question?
Let me see here.
He was just talking about this guy that he trained with the Dog Brothers, but he didn't know how long Grandmaster Mike the Mongoose Hess was with the Dog Brothers. So maybe he's asking if you happen to know.
No, I don't know the Mongoose. No offense. I just don't know the Mongoose.
We know a Mongoose, but it's not the same Mongoose.
Yes.
I sometimes can be sarcastic without even wanting to be sarcastic.
Yeah. No, really?
Yeah, my wife says I have resting murder face, and then
I thought it was the resting bitch face, but whatever.
And sometimes I can be sarcastic just by
just by looking,
by answering. Yeah.
So I like so I got myself my wife a T-shirt that says sarcasm. It's how I hug. Rainbows on there. And she loved it.
One of my favorite T-shirts was given to me by a couple students. It's like it says "Spoiler alert: Everybody dies." To me that was hilarious.
Yeah,
it sparked a few Christmas dinner conversations.
Just one or two.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. So here, okay. So I don't think a lot of people get the Dog Brothers.
No.
And I know I sure as hell didn't when I first heard about them, and I don't even know if all the Dog Brothers themselves get what they're doing too. So
hey Tim, listen, man, I didn't get it either. Like I remember when sorry, go ahead. I'll let you finish, and then I'll jump in.
And says preach it, and then Lamont says all members of the Dog Brothers tribes are listed in the Dog Brothers website. Okay, we can check into that. So could so what I'd like to maybe is how, because a lot of people think it's a competition. We know it's not.
No.
Tell us. So I show up. I want to fight. What's the mindset, the generic idea of someone like myself, or generic Tim, not Tim, whatever, just going up and like, how do you get a fight? What's the mindset, the psyche behind everybody? What are the rules, safety protocols, blah, blah, blah,
as far as the rules are concerned, they always say we don't want to have anybody spend the night in the hospital.
Yeah,
But
there
I
you
have
go.
spent the night in the hospital. And sometimes I have to do a self-check. It's like, what the hell did I say? Was there alcohol involved?
Okay.
But no, like with me, I'll speak for myself. When you show up to a gathering, like I respect you already just for stepping on the mat, showing up. Philip has always said, 99% of life is just showing up. But if it's your first time, someone will ask you if it's your first time, or before the fights begin, we'll ask who's here for the first time. We'll kind of let them know what's going on. But I find when it's your first time, you'll probably get somebody walking up to you and saying, "Hey, Tim, how you doing? What are you fighting with today? What do you want to fight with today? This is the stick I have. Let me see the stick you're using." And then, yeah, that's fine. Like you want to fight, and then kind of go. I remember this happened at a gathering once, and I won't say where it was, but people were lined up and they were saying, okay, so, and again, I remember breaking my hand and taping a stick to my hand because that's because I'm an idiot that way. Again, as a carpenter, it's not the smartest thing to do. But the guy I was fighting broke his hand too, and we are doing like a tribute fight to his mom, and we're like, okay, well, my hand's broken. I'm taping my stick, and he taped his stick too, and like 3 swings, and the stick's like tangled up with our masks and stuff, and it turned into like a boxing match with sticks attached to her hand. But unless you're like really injured and you say, I don't want to go to the ground, or I don't want this, I don't want that, you're there. It's a fight, right? So if you're fighting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt who happens to have a stick in his hand, then you keep your distance. it's it's just that's the surprise aspect of it, right? And I learned that like I fought Kung Fu, Thomas Holtman from Blade Craft Method. Uh, he's really heavily to Chinese martial arts. He had a three section staff. And I thought it'd be smart to go fighting with a single stick against a three-section staff, which was a really bad mistake. And I managed to crash in. I didn't do it on purpose, Thomas. I know you keep thinking I did it, but I hit him in the butt as far as I possibly could. And as my stick came back, because I wanted to do something cool, like hit him in the face, I was in an armbar while I was standing, and then I was in an armbar on the ground. And then my elbow started saying, "You're about to dislocate," and I tapped. So
Okay.
when I start hearing people say, "Okay, we're gonna fight, but you can't do this," if I'm around, I'm a bit of a squeaky wheel. I'll say, "No bullshit. Like you're here to fight. If you want an easy fight, then go do something else. You're here to test yourself, right? You're not here to look good. It's about to go down." So, anyways, Tim, you show up to a gathering, you meet a bunch of cool people, hopefully, and you push yourself to the limit that you want to push yourself to with whatever weapon you want to push yourself to. And then after that, we go for beer. And maybe some shots. With
Now,
me, you'll be doing a lot of shots.
now you got you have a safety marshal running each match, right?
We have a ringmaster.
Okay.
So when in California, that's Mark Denny's house for the most part. If he's running the event, which I think he's pretty much done all of them. So he's going to decide whether you should continue or whether you're just. Like I've seen him stop matches where it's like one guy who literally maybe watched the video. It's like, I can do this. Shows up and starts getting a beating of a lifetime. Mark will stop.
Okay.
Because at that point, you're not learning anything. You're just getting a beating. Like I remember, this is when I was living in Oakville. This dude calls me up. He's like, "Hey man, I'm coming to the gathering." I'm like, "Right on." He's like, "Can I meet you at your house? I want to go over some of my theories and whatnot." And literally, this guy watched like a bunch of DBMA videos, never fought. And we met at the park, and like literally, I showed up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna like baseball swing, and I'm gonna do this." And I was like, "Get all that shit out of your head, and let's just work on blocking for 5 minutes." and then we'll go from there. It's like, give me an angle 1. He's like, what's that? I go, you sure you want to do this? Because when you go down there, like they don't care that you don't know an angle 1 or a stop. Like they're swinging for the fences, and especially I find the first few years that you're doing this, people really they really want to catch the eye of the rest of the dog brothers and whatnot, and get to that that name, the dog brother name. I think once you get that dog brother title, that's when you really get that target painted on your back, because everybody and their monkey wants to fight you.
Sure.
But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I hope I answered the question.
No. I mean, that was good. I mean, we see videos. I mean, and once again, okay, I've got Craig on the inside, so I know the answer before I asked it. You've got someone there. A lot of people just think it's chaos, and you got someone there who's trying to keep you safe, relative term. It's. I mean, you have people agree on things like I know some people say, listen, I just don't want to go to the ground. And there's some people said, all right, they'll go by those rules, or you find someone who will, whether you find someone who will do those rules with you. I know they've done the hidden training knives off and on.
Bullshit. Sorry, was that out loud?
Yeah, I don't like any of the hidden weapons. If you're going to come into the table, everyone should know what's going on. If you want to sit there and say, hey, listen, I got 2 sticks and a knife, I'm going to tuck my knife in here. It's like, all right, well, now that I know there's a knife in play,
I was kneeing this cat in the face once, repeatedly, until his mask came off, and then kneed him a couple more times. And then it's like, oh, fight's over. And I was like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't knee the guy in the face anymore. The guy goes, no, the guy stabbed you. I was like, this is bullshit. It's like, no, this hidden knife thing. I tell people right off the bat, I'm like, if you're fighting me, there's no hidden weapon. It's just because it actually sets me off. It just makes me really angry. Because it's like, if you're getting the hell kicked out of you, it's real simple. And I'm not talking like they just literally the knife touches you and it's done. Like that is absolutely not, in my opinion, and I'm probably pissing other dog brothers off. It annoys the shit out of me.
Oh, look at this. Ty visits the hospital every now and then. I think he's talking about that was a karambit.
Some leaky forehead. No, it was a stick.
Okay.
Yeah, when I broke my arm at the gathering, and it was kind of funny because about 2 minutes before I broke my arm, there's a fight that went on, and this dude got knocked out. I mean, this guy had no idea what time zone he was in. And I walked out to him because they wouldn't let him fight anymore. I was like, listen, man, it happens. I'm sorry. I go, dude, I'm from Canada, man. Check it out. And I gave him a Toro Clan t-shirt. I hope everything's cool. I'll see you next time. 2 minutes later, me and Kalani fight. He breaks my arm. I put his pinky finger inside his hand.
Right.
It was just a nasty ass fight. And I'm sitting there and I'm lining up for a fight, and my arm starts doing really crazy things on its own, like jazz hands. And I go to the medic, and I was like, dude, what's wrong with my arm? And he grabs my wrist, and he rotates it. My ulnar rotates out. So I broke it. So the same dude I was saying, hey, man, I'm sorry about that. He comes up to me and goes, hey, man, that sucks. Don't worry about it.
Goes around.
Oh, and I ended up, I had to catch a plane that day, hours after the gathering. And I'm one of those people that I'll fly for 16 hours if I can take my flight for $100. Right. I'm one of those ridiculous people. So I flew for 16 hours with a busted arm and a crappy sling. And it was the second we touched down somewhere, I'd run to the bar and just my Dr. Jack Daniels helped me out. Yeah. Then I got to Toronto, and I was like a ghost. I got into the hospital. They checked my arm. I was all busted up. And they're like, well, we can't give you a cast because the cast technician isn't here.
Oh.
So I spent another 24 hours without a cast.
Well, also, anyway. I guess at that point you would have swelled up so much that they can't put a cast on because you're too swollen.
Oh man, it was like pink dough. I got really cool pictures of my arm where it didn't look like my arm.
I can relate, but not from combat. I tore my bicep off, and it was black and blue for a foot and a half up my arm for the longest time.
Yeah. The local hospital where I used to live used to know me quite well, from back in my bouncing days, and also from I remember like when I came back from LA with a broken arm, and then I take your shirt off for the X-ray, and I was just covered in welts.
Right.
And the guy's like, "What the hell happened to you?" And I was like, "Oh, I was doing a sport." He's like, "What do you mean a sport?" I was trying to explain to them my mom's Spanish, and she uses a wooden spoon, but
There you go.
they weren't really feeling it. So, and
There.
it was hard for me to explain what actually happened, because whenever you tell people what you do, they think you're, well,
Crazy.
they think
Yep.
you're an idiot.
Yep. That's why
And
you get a
actually,
lot
what's
of
funny, it's funny what Tim, you're saying, well, people don't understand, like, what we do. I always find when people don't understand something, they either make fun of it or they'll say how stupid it is. But
or they'll
actually,
be
they're
scared
right.
of it. Or they'll be scared of it. One of those, right? They're
Yeah.
fun of it, say you're stupid, or they're scared of it and they don't want any part of it.
Yeah, you don't need to do that to learn.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that. I had an instructor once say that to me. It's like, oh, that's bullshit. You don't need to do that. It's like, it's just ego, Rene. It's ego. I don't care. I went out there anyways. And, yeah, I guess I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
A Fuller Fight's got a good question.
Let's see here. What kind of mask or head protection would you recommend, gloves, etc., for those who need their limbs taken care of for their families asking for a friend? LOL.
Okay.
For a friend.
I would tell your friend to get a Saber mask to start off with, because they have a lot of padding inside. Like a lot of padding is more than what some of the other guys use. And start off with some either good lacrosse gloves, because you can take a really smashing hit on the hands and it won't break your metacarpals, and you'll be able to write home the next day, or text your friends. And then as time progresses, it'll be one of those things where you will want to push yourself to do something else. I have two masks. One is my Predator mask, which is Saber mask, which I ripped everything out of, including the neck protector. But it's a bit heavier gauge, and I usually wear that when I'm fighting someone who's much bigger than I am. There's a gentleman out in Montreal, Trash Dog, my buddy Eric, who doesn't feel pain. And it doesn't matter how hard you hit him. He just kind of walks towards you like, what was that, a breeze,
Nice.
And he'll dent one of those masks. And then I have like 100-year-old mask, which offers very little protection. And well, actually none really. I've already had it crack a couple times. And I'm going back to gloves now, but there was a time where I stopped. I wear like batting gloves or light motorcycle gloves just because I want to. The problem with a lot of the heavier equipment, the heavier the equipment that you wear, the more chances you'll take. So if you're wearing really heavy gloves, you'll sacrifice your hands to get in because you're not going to feel it.
Right.
When you don't wear gloves, you don't do that. It's to me, obviously, again, trust me, it's stupid, but I like to push myself to see how far I can take it. And again, I work as a site super now, but when I was working strictly as a carpenter, it's really hard to operate certain tools with only one hand.
Sure, right. Let alone safe or not. No, I'm seeing a lot of parallels. As you say, I'm seeing a lot of parallels with. So there's a certain type of people that like to push themselves in whatever they do, whether it's this or some other interest. So I've seen a lot of parallels with what I saw in powerlifting, competitive powerlifting. So the strongest guy's there, the first guy, guy shows up to his first meet, and he might be the weakest guy or whatever, and that just the fact that he's out there pushing himself gets respect just walking out there. So and then there's that bonding too, right? So that it's interesting. I'm seeing some of the same mindsets.
There's a dude named Tom, and right now for some reason it's the Moonshine. I forgot his last name. But I remember he came to a gathering and he's like, I got a new hobby. And I'm thinking, like, what's he going to talk about? Different martial arts. And he pulls out these giant iron nails and he bends them.
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, check this out." And I sit there and I'm like, "Shit, I told this guy I wanted to fight him today."
Right.
It's like Tom Guthrie. There it is. Sorry, Thomas.
Don't let him grab your stick so he won't break it, and you'll be good.
There we go. You don't want that problem.
That dude kneed me in the liver so hard that I remember holding on to him, and he thought I was trying to grapple him, but I was actually just holding on because I wanted to die, and I ended up falling on the ground. And I remember him standing above me, like chambering with a stick above his head, like he's gonna knight me. I was trying to speak, but I couldn't because again, if you ever been kneed in the liver that hard, like everything shuts off. Like I was like checking, making sure I didn't soil myself, and it's like, and he's like, "Wow, you hit really hard." I'm like, "Dude, you bend nails."
Right.
So, but and again, like you were saying, is the one thing I found really cool about this whole thing is that I got to test the things that I've been taught, because frankly, a lot of stuff that I was taught, whether it be at seminars and whatnot, you're like, man, this is some crazy filler, or the application of this is not maybe for combat, but more for, I don't know, learning footwork or something else.
I talk about that in class all the time, that it doesn't matter what we do as long as we're not selling it as something that it's not. So we do a lot of things for skill development. We do things about position recognition and the study of movement. And it's all good. I mean, I've done a lot of fun, fancy stuff that's completely unrealistic, but it builds a certain attribute. But I tell people that what we're doing, what the purpose is, like when Ty was just down, and I did this 4 disarm counter technique that we were doing. No way in hell that's going to work, But the thing is, it was a whole bunch of position recognition, timing, sensitivity, and I'm doing a bunch of things all at once. So, so I can save time. A lot of times, when you have one training knife, you spend more than half the time chasing that across the floor. So I'll get a fistful of knives in one hand. I'll do an attack with one hand and the other hand, and start going through my techniques left and right.
But that's the difference between you and some other guys, right? Like I've been at seminars where they don't tell someone they're learning this for attributes, right? They'll sit there and go, "This is what you do in combat." Well, who taught you that? My instructor, whose instructor taught his instructor by his instructor 5 years ago, who saw it in a movie and saw it in a real fight on the street. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, if you're doing something because you're telling them flat out, "Hey, I do this because it promotes footwork," or "Let's do this for fun." It's a different story than actually telling somebody something that this could save your life one day. I remember one time some dude told me, he's like, "If you pinch a guy's legs while he has you in a headlock, he'll let go." Like, what? Like, I remember being stabbed and not knowing for 15 minutes that I got stabbed.
Right.
Like, when it's absolute nonsense. It blows my mind. I was about to go into another tirade, but I stopped.
So I'm going to pull out another lifting thing. So I told you bicep got ripped up. I did that in a meet, and I still set the bar down. I ripped my bicep off on a deadlift, and I didn't drop it. Right, you finish what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I didn't, I knew what had happened, but it's not as straightforward as some people think. Whatever the impact of the situation is, it's not as straightforward. Bodies are amazing.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess going back to what I was saying about people teaching you stuff. Like I've had the pleasure and the misfortune of meeting my heroes in martial arts, and sometimes the things that they've taught me or the things that they say to me, you just sit there and go, "Wow, like this is insane."
Yeah.
Or you go to a seminar and you're like,
Right.
"This dude's making this shit up on the spot," right? And I'm at that point in my life, I was still too polite to just walk out and leave. But I've lost that.
It's one of the things that I liked about Rene. He would talk about real, and he would talk about whatever wasn't, right? And so you listened when he said things that were for real.
Yeah, and I think it also depends on the people around you, right? Like, we've all had different experiences. Like I said, I lived in different countries. I lived in Venezuela for 4.5 years. And at a young age, I saw a couple, when people get into a dispute down there, it's different. It's not like you shove me back. Like, I've seen a couple on two separate occasions, I've seen two cats going at each other with machetes, and there was no finesse about it. There wasn't like they ran at each other and squared off and started doing this. Oh, Juan, how dare you do this to my family, right?
Right.
The guy ran up and literally buried the machete through the guy's neck to his chest, and the fight was over.
Yep.
He undid it and just walked away. Now, as brutal as that is, and how disgusting it is, that's the reality. That's how quickly it happened.
Yep.
So, I always love when I watch these videos where people either fighting zombies or I love it because my wife hates it because I'll be talking about it for the rest of the night, where it's like, can you believe this nonsense? And I just lose my shit over it. But it's just like, like they meet in a clearing, and then it's like they start doing their dances in Carenza before they attack. Now, yes, it could be part of the video and they're trying to sell it, but man, it's like, that's like when you see in a movie where a bunch of Navy SEALs are about to storm a building and they cock their guns before they run in. Like, no, I think they're ready to go already, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, what can you do?
We know what we can do. We can talk about it.
Yeah, we do.
Actually, a question for you guys: what other arts do you guys train in? Just because I know a little bit about conversations that I've heard from you guys.
Ty, why don't you start?
So I started in Kung Fu. You already realized that. So in Malaysia, I lived in Malaysia. So that's why I perked up when you said you lived lots of places. So I'd like to hear more about that later. But started Kung Fu in Malaysia. After a year, I moved back to the States, started doing Northern Praying Mantis Kung Fu, and I've been doing that ever since. So that was 82, I guess. Doing it ever since. And then about 10 years later, I found, I also do Tai Chi as a combat art, not as a fluffy cloud thing. Don't get me started. And then, so that was about
You started
5 years after doing Kung Fu. And then 5 years after that, I met Eric Alexander and started taking up Modern Ace, and I've been with that ever since as well. So that was 91, 92, 93, somewhere. 92, really. But, yep. That's it, really. Lots of smatterings of the other things, but those are the cores. So
I started in modern. I did some backyard bullshit. I think we all do that at one time or another. And then I got into modern, and then after, we do a belting system. So after I got my black belt, I knew that Remy traveled the Philippines and trained with all these different people to help build what he did, but I didn't have access to him at all at the time. So what I started doing was seeking out any FMA seminar I could go to see if maybe there might be a relationship. And actually, I bumped, started with, like, say, Kevin Seaman was the first guy I ever did a seminar with. I was the first and I was a big Bruce Lee fan. And the funny thing is, like, I was a huge Bruce Lee. I was a huge fanboy, and I had access to JKD, but by the time I had access to it, I didn't want to do it because I was all in the FMA. So if we're talking things certified, modern, the equivalent of being certified, Balintwalk, I was given permission to teach. Our Balintwalk, there was no certs. Combaton, which is what Ernesto Precis, Remy's younger brother, did. Kuntao and Sikaran, Dikiti Tertia. I have some experience with that. Bondo stick fighting, the stick fighting portion of Bondo.
Nice.
I think that's about it. I don't know. I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since '93, and I'm still a white belt because I see shiny little things, squirrel, and I get sidetracked. And anytime I get access to an FMA seminar, I go. I mean, I've gotten to meet some of the world's best martial artists in the industry, and I'm always a student watching things, but I'm not going to sit there and say I studied something that I didn't train in. I mean, I know a lot about martial arts because if my friends do them, I want them to educate me. I go, well, how did it start? Who did this? What did that? But I mean, reading the book is different than actually getting in the trenches and doing stuff. So, but my core has been modern, and I've been very happy with that. And But it's pretty much, except for my Bondo and my BJJ, everything's been Filipino. Oh, shit. I cut myself shaving today, and now it's going to bleed like a sieve because I scratched it. God damn it.
I thought it was my mind.
Oh, you did it. Oh, man, I saw that in Fifth Element. God damn it. You suck, Rene.
That's cool. You know, like you're like one of the only casts who came out to that tribute seminar with Arlen. You know, a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out." But you actually went out there and did it.
I
And
want to see what it's about.
yeah, and a lot of people just won't. A lot of people will not step out of their comfort zone, which is, you know, again, it's bullshit, right? Like,
I gotta do a thing here.
Yeah, he's gonna go take care of it. So, yep.
if you can't hear, if you can't hear us, we can start talking about it.
He can hear us. So
Oh, damn it!
so that was when you should say all the things you like that.
Don't even think about it.
There you go.
Here we go. Watch this. Look at my style. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, here we go.
There you go. Oh no! Before I had my Band-Aid on, it looked like it was like that, and it looked like that little guy from Austria.
Nice.
I'm German. I'm not Austrian, so I can't go with that. And
that guy.
that guy. So Chris Nally says hello from Georgia.
Cool.
Chris Nally.
Yeah, we met him. We met him down at Bobby's camp. Remember?
Yeah.
He also works with Datu Kelly, and then Rob Guida is one of my guys. Tim is the closest Kempo guy. No, I'm not a classic Kempo guy. I know a lot about Kempo because my friends know Kempo. He's just upset because I do 5 swords better than he does. And I've got he's got better backup mass than I do, though.
But I think, you know, a lot of the stuff you pick up along the way, you know, I would say I've exposed myself to a lot of things, even some sub ranks, and color ranks are, nobody's going for them. Sometimes they give you, but it gives you some exposure and you learn more about your own art. There's a lot of ways you can do that. You can put pressure on in hardcore sparring. You can look at other arts and just see, you know, why do they think the way they do, why they move the way they do, and look at it with your arts too. So that, I share that kind of background of trying to look at things all these ways. I've even done Okinawan arts. I even did a little bit of Silat, all sorts of stuff. But, you know, smattering of other things, all to understand those core better, right? And to be a better me, whatever art I am after all that time, right?
That's something I like, especially with the Beat the Crap. Like, we had people from all different arts coming by. Like, they show up at gatherings as well. But, you know, like, the cool thing about Beat the Crap is that we had guys who are, like, you know, really strict traditional martial arts, and then we had guys who were just like literally watched the video and it's like, hey, let's give this a shot.
Right.
You know, I think the only thing for me that, like, I love martial arts. It's something I've done, you know, for a big chunk of my life. But I've also, again, because I'm a little bit jaded, I've started, like, if I go somewhere and I start seeing like the inner workings and politics and all stuff like that, like, they may have some great stuff, but I'm gonna bounce. You know, like the politics in some of the FMA groups is insane. Yeah, like to the point where
a lot of people.
Sorry, what's that?
It ruins it for a lot of people. Really?
Well, actually, I had death threats because of something that I mentioned once. You know, it's like I disagreed with the Grand Master, and like I had this dude call me out of the blue, and he was like, "You live in such and such an address, and you know we're coming for you." And it's like,
Well, that's bullshit. Because if they were coming, they wouldn't tell you. They'd just show up. They're real ninjas. They show up in the middle of the night.
I think what freaked him out even more is that I called him back on his number and it said, "Hey, how's Friday?" You know.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you know, it's just, I don't know. Like, there's some people out there who are definitely, like, you know, there's some wackos in martial arts out there, but I don't get the whole cult thing.
Well, you know, that's it. And then there's some people. I had people who didn't like. They had problems with Remy, and they couldn't take Remy out, so they took it out. They tried to take it out on me, and that didn't work. I had a guy message me, tried to say that don't go to Germany or you have to. I'm a special forces guy named Jose Battler, and what had happened was I had taken a course through this one.
What do you mean by special?
Yeah, well, he's, there you go. So
Special farces.
There we go. Special farce. Yeah. So I had taken a course through a company called Positive. What the hell was it called? Positive Response. It was they did security work, and the course was in U.S. and British military combatives. I put that down on my resume that I finished the course. That's when back in the day, you listed every little certificate you ever had. And there was a typo in it. The web designer was one of my students. He even said that he made a typo. And this guy was going nuts. Kept sending me emails. If you show up, we'll knife fight. I'm like, and it was just, and I know it was a local guy screwing with me. I actually reached out to the state police because, my father was a trooper.
You never know.
And I go, and they actually gave me, I go, hey, you sure you want to do this? I go, someone's threatening my safety. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I gave all the guys the subtle hints of, I know who you are. Fortunately for them, the guy got transferred and never was able to follow up. But I was in Germany. Nothing ever happened. I had a whole bunch of people tell me, oh, you go by Datu. They're all going to line up to kill you there. That's funny. The second trip, I'm coming back. I've got a group of people with me walking in Manila, and I hear the word Datu Tim, and I turn. I go, "This is it," and it's friggin' Bamba Tulay. He gives me a big hug. Oh, Tim, it's nice to meet you. I'm like, really? This is it? and the Datu thing comes up every now and then, and people forget. And Ty knows I didn't self-promote myself in anything, and it came from Remy. And no one had the balls to say anything to Remy, but now that he's gone, they'll peek up. So let me see. Rob Guida, you will never admit that. Okay, let's see what we got here. Hey, what's up, sexy dudes? I got done with my podcast, and now I'm inside he's inside us?
Yeah, I hope
that
not.
just doesn't sound right.
I hope not. I was watching his podcast with Dean just before this. So, yeah. Hey, Paulo.
Rene, do we get along with Paulo? I mean, I get along with Paulo. Do you get along with Paulo?
I've spoken on the phone with him once, and he actually kind of helped facilitate the seminar between Philip and Jared when they had it in Toronto. So I got no beef.
Oh, that's cool.
He's a snappy dresser,
Keeps calling me Guy Fury, whatever the guy's name is.
But it's funny you were talking about people and the crazy shit. Like I was supposed to do a seminar in Mexico, and there's this guy down there who I call the clown because he had paid someone a bunch of money and he got a really high promotion. So, anyways, the guy sends me this private message. This is the same guy who threatened to kill me, like to have a hit put on me and whatnot.
Right.
So, anyways, he sends me a message, and I end up doing like a FaceTime call with him. And his English is not good, but I kind of let him just like spring the trap a little bit. He's like, when you come down here, you and I will fight, and it's a fight to the death. And then I started speaking to him in Spanish.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, if you want to fight me, we'll fight.
Mm-hmm.
If that's really what you want to do. And then all of a sudden, it's like, my friend, hey, it's just things that got out of hand.
Nice.
I was a little animated, and I was using some other words.
Was that guy's name right there?
I can hear them right now in my head.
No, that's not him. That's not it. Let's just call him Aztec Juggalo. And anyways, I just thought it was crazy that this dude, and I don't know him from Adam, so I don't know if he's legit or not. Like I call some of my buddies out there in Mexico who are members of the police force. We had a chat. It's just like, it's insane. That's like me saying, Ty, if you and I ever meet, we're going to have issues. I don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
right.
It's like, it blows my fucking mind that people do this kind of stuff, right?
You can't really
take it.
Yep.
It's just, it's not. It's absolutely not. Or even like you were saying, Tim, like with self-promotion, like there's some guys out there who just pay and they get the certification. They can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag with a hole in it, but they need to have that, they need to have that response. They need to have that respect. And listen, I'm a loudmouth and I've caused a lot of shit in my time, but at least, I've done what I've done. Like there's no, I'm not saying I'm the best because I'm not, but I put my time in, and there's some history that it can be traced back to what I've done. I even seen some instructors who I've seen instructors, and there's blew my fucking mind, and I gotta say it like that I've asked their students to give them a higher rank. So people have been ranked by their actual students.
Mhm.
And I was like, what? Like, are
Yep.
you serious? Like, are
Well,
you insane?
yeah. Well, we'll talk about one. I mean, like I know
Oh.
people who have fought. Okay, so people don't understand that the ring and the street are two different things. And I know some really good sport competitors that couldn't fight in the street, you know. And actually, I was watching one of my guys, Steve Scott, was at the Bluegrass Nationals black belt sparring division, and there was a low blow, and it turned out to be a bench clearing brawl, and everyone was fighting like this. I'm like, I'm sorry, if it's a bench clearing brawl with a bunch of black belts, there better be a body count, because I'm picking up inanimate objects and smashing people, and I'm like, I've seen some great guys that just they're ring generals, but they're like street privates.
It kind of reminds me. I was in a bar in Venezuela, and I ran in with a cap gun, shooting in the air because I thought it'd be funny. And the whole bar, it was like one of those scenes out of a movie where everything stopped, and everybody's chair went back, and everybody stood up, and they had their hand on their hip.
Right.
And my dad gave me like a backhand across the face, and everybody's like laughing, and everybody sat back down.
Wow.
Yeah, I learned a
Rene
very
was
valuable lesson.
almost a past tense.
Right. Right.
Dude, I was like, because again, you know, you have a few shots or whatever, and you think you're funny, and yeah, it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny.
Go figure.
Wow.
And again, that's part of my
How old
sense
were
of
you?
humor. It's like 17, 18.
Yeah. The brain cells didn't work. I mean, not saying that they work now, but at that age, they sure as hell didn't work.
Let me give you I'll give you an idea of my sense of humor. My wife and I were at a Costco, and she's got her 2-year-old at the time, and we're going through the lanes, and there's a sample lady, and she's like, "Sir, would you like to try this?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll take it." And I take this cracker, I put it in my mouth. I'm like, "What is this?" She goes, "It's with honey." And I said, "Honey, I'm allergic." And I grabbed my throat, pretending to go into shock, which I thought was hilarious.
Yep.
And my wife just kept kind of, you know, that's my sense of humor. By the way,
I'm assuming she kept walking away.
Yeah, like by the time because there's a bit of a crowd that kind of got around us, and I stood up, started laughing, and there was one lady called me a monster, and people were swearing and yelling, and then by the time I got to my wife, she's like, "You have to know your audience, Rene. You can't just do this." But I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, and
You know.
Yeah.
so usually now she kind of sees when I'm about to, you know, do a kind of a joke or whatever, so she like
That's
veer
me.
left. Right? I'll save myself the embarrassment of the news story. So you were saying about the people who've given themselves rank?
Oh no, you were saying that. We were talking about people who think they can fight but they can't.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
good in the ring, but they can't fight outside the ring.
It's really weird when people do that. Like one of my instructors who was actually like he was integral in my martial arts career, he kind of like set me kind of if I dare to say a straighter line, you know, from like a punk rock kid that he met. You know, he once told me, he's like, there are people who are really good instructors, just really shitty role models. And and sometimes you're going to go through a transition in life where you're a better teacher than you are a fighter. Because I know some really good fighters who are really shitty teachers. You know, their concept of, you know, or just having patience with people, which I'm working on as well. You know, again, like I was saying before, I get paid. I have a day job. So when people are training with me, if they don't want to be there, I tell them to leave. You know, I had a student once come up to me, and you know, she was like, "I just want to let you know today's my last day in class." And I was like, "Why, you moving or something?" And she's like, "Well, no, I just find this is too aggressive, and I don't like it." Like, you've been with me for 3 months, and you just figured that out now.
Wow.
I'm like, do me and yourself a favor, and you know, get the fuck out now. And you know, where I was training at the time, they're like, "Hey, you can't talk to people like that," which, you know, maybe I can't, but you know, I want to develop people who want to scrap. I'm not there for your feelings or anything else like that. That's kind of how I feel about it. Just come here and train, and I don't care what you had for dinner, and I don't want to see your selfie stick. Just, and at the end of class, when we're sitting there and we're all beaten up, yeah, then maybe you can talk to me about something. But for that 90 minutes, I just don't care. I just want you to think about hitting people.
And everyone's got their own thing. And, you're an upfront kind of guy, so I doubt very much that you sold them on something different, on a different set of, hey, this is how I am. This is what I do.
Day one is going to be uncomfortable for everybody who comes to class. It's something I tell them right off the bat. I guarantee it that they're not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be comfortable. Even when the seminars that I teach, it's basically all gas, no brakes. It's full throttle the entire time. Actually, the last time I was teaching it was in New York, and I was teaching also in Ottawa, and I was looking at everybody like, man, these guys look like they're moving underwater. And it's when I realized we haven't stopped in 4 hours. Because it's like, hey, let's go. The more tired you are, the better it is. Let's keep going. So, anyways, that's where I'm at.
Cool. Well, let's see. I don't think we got any new questions. I think that was pretty good. You got anything? So I got to put your email address on here after the show. Probably do that tomorrow afternoon. If someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Just email, just reach out, kind of go from there. I don't want to sound like I'm too important, but I tend to kind of screen people a bit more now because for some reason I get the odd like let's meet in a field at midnight.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And my blade will taste your blood. It's like oh, sure, man. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what a 50-year-old man with 2 young kids wants to hear, right?
Right.
Yeah, I never hear that stuff. I must be doing something wrong.
Or no, yeah. Well, like I said, I tend to tick people off.
It is.
Hey, but I think I've been pretty good today. I don't think I did anything too bad.
Yeah, we can go with that.
I'm waiting for more. I'm going to be getting like 10 more death threats from Mexico.
Right.
I heard you called me the Aztec Juggalo. How dare you?
Hey, come on!
If you look carefully, if you look carefully through Facebook and other areas, you might find a picture that I made in Photoshop.
Okay.
I'll send it to you so you can have a good laugh.
That'll be good. All right. Well, anything you got coming up you want to plug?
We're working on the next Beat the Crap Out of Cancer. I'm actually working on a bunch of seminars and stuff too now that things are starting to lift up. Other than that, I'm training a couple groups privately. I'm not really teaching out of a school anymore. So I got a couple groups that I train with and guys that just want to do that dog brother thing.
I get you.
Other than that, that's really it. I just I'm mellowing out. Trying to.
Hey, that's what having a family does.
Yeah. And by the way, I and it's not because my life is always so chaotic. Like my daughter, once she got those sticks that you made for her, because she used to come to class with me, and at 2 or 3 years old, she had those 2 little sticks, which we still have in her basement, and
nice.
Yeah, she tested them out on me a couple times.
Oh, good.
She actually tested them out on my face once when I was just sitting there minding my own business, which is pretty cool.
There's no cheating.
You got over it.
Yeah.
You got over it.
Oh, I see Roger Whistle. You probably know that name.
That's the guy. So when I broke my hand, when we actually broke each other's hand. Well, let me rephrase that. I broke my hand in the fight. He broke his, and I was like, we are going to fight, and we literally taped the sticks to our hands.
Okay.
And that's the dude right there. That dude is a solid MFer. He's a bad motor scooter too.
There you go.
He's a fantastic dancer. If you ever get a chance to see him dance, he's awesome.
So, do you know Fuller Fight? A Fuller Fight?
Do I know who?
Meet the class. That's this guy. He goes, BTC seminars or gatherings. Please let me know, and I'll find a space.
Cool.
That's the guy that was asking about in Maryland, I think. Yeah.
And then
Sweet, man. Whatever I can.
Roger's laughing at you, so he knows that. He goes, how about a return seminar in Ottawa?
I'm retired. That's in my ongoing joke. I've been retired for about 15 years. No, it's as far as the beat the crap, just like reach out, we'll chat and we'll go through that and we'll figure out what we can do. Because like I said, the more the scarier. It's the more of us to get together and do this, it's the better it is.
Nice.
Well, hey Rene, thanks for stopping on. It was great. We definitely should do this again. We're actually looking maybe to put a panel of a bunch of people on and just stir shit up. You wouldn't be open for that, would you?
Oh, and then I will be drinking moonshine.
Sure. It's all good. All good. All good in the hood.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Rene.
It's better than typing, I'll tell you that.
There we go.
No, good visit. Good visit. Thank you.
All right, cool.
All right. Catch you later, sir. So that was good. I liked that was nice. I like Rene, and now we've got people got to meet two of our viewers. You know, we got to see Eric last time,
right?
And then we met Rene today. Well, actually, a bunch of our viewers, because a bunch of our viewers are always been guests too. So
right.
So PG Craig, Frank Shakowski,
yep,
and others. So
that Paolo guy popped on.
Well, he said he might pop on after Rene because he didn't want to derail the conversation. But, you know, I don't know if that guy actually has the cojones to show up. Oh, look who showed up.
He was having technical difficulties, so I don't know if we should let him.
Hey.
See, there he goes. Exactly.
Just kidding.
Dude, you gotta shave there. But what the hell? You trying to make up for compensate with that microphone?
It's not even on. Is it even on? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. We don't want to hear you, but we can hear you.
I'm sorry.
How was Brazil?
No, Brazil was crazy, man. Brazil's crazy.
We made it back.
Yeah. It was relatively safe. You know, walking around South with a Navy SEAL. It was like every delivery scooter guy was about to jump us. It was great. How's Rene, by the way? I didn't catch the entire interview.
Oh, Rene was great. And of course, now he's asking, where's the $20 I promised him? It's Bayesian dollars, so it's half a US, which is still more than Canadian. No, it's less than Canadian.
So what are you guys up to this year? You guys got any plans? Any cool stuff happening?
Let me see. I'm in Cambridge at the end of April. So I'm doing my first Canadian seminar since COVID. And then we've got the Modern East Anniversary Camp in May.
Uh-huh.
We had to postpone the we were supposed to go next month to the police academy, but unfortunately the numbers were down for registration from the area, so we're rescheduling from April to June. So that should be fun. I don't get to get shot by a bunch of simunition, so I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, right. You love that pain.
Well, actually, John takes all of that for us. But
John takes most of it, yeah.
Cool.
He's a glutton. So what do you got going on?
I'm just metal detecting, man. Like
I saw that.
It's my new hobby. It's so good. It's amazing. Now, but other than that, just doing that whole FMA thing. This is officially my longest hobby now, so that's good. I guess I love it.
Nice.
But
okay,
it's usually like after 4 years. I mean, I've longboarded, snowboarded, tried to surf, done this, done that, and took Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, but it's like, man, FMA is just too good. So good. So but I haven't explored modern Arnis yet. So that's a thing I need to do. Is it good? Is it all right?
It's
I
okay.
like it. It's all right.
It's okay. You would be welcome, I think, at anything. And we'd be.
Hey, how would you guys teach me modern Arnis? Like somebody like me who is like, I don't want to learn the whole thing, and I kind of,
So I
Tim,
got
you've seen me
modular.
fight a few times.
I got modular programs that I use to onboard people with, and Professor, his approach was the art within your art. So he would. Well, Remy didn't teach Filipino martial arts. He taught people how to become better self-defense practitioners via Filipino influence, and a few of us stepped up and became FMAers. But if you watch most modern Arnis people, I would say that while Remy was alive, that they were all, what would you say, Ty? Or I don't want to use stronger words. I want to use better words.
Well, I don't know.
What's
My
happening
word's
to
broken
you?
today. My
What's
word's
happening
broken.
to you?
There you go.
It's been a long day. It's been a real long day.
No, I mean, I think most people that were doing it were their core art was their core art. So they were whatever they were doing, they were looking at something extra. So your extra stuff is not your primary stuff by definition, right? But no, as far as teaching you, Paolo, I have a guy who doesn't want to learn modernese. He comes to classes to get a taste, be in student mode because he's teaching another art. He's really quite gifted. And I have him join in, and we touch bases on a few things, and he learns what he wants to learn, and it's all good.
Okay,
that's one way to do it.
I got one more question before I got to go. Thanks for letting me in, by the way. Modern Arnis, the way it's classically traditionally taught, is it true that you guys start with double stick?
No.
Like that's no. Okay, I don't know where I picked that
I've
up.
never heard that.
Okay. No.
No, we are okay. Here's the problem. For a while, okay. Remy taught his two younger brothers, Ernesto and Roberto.
Mm-hmm.
They started developing their own thing. Unfortunately, they were using the same name of Modern Arnis.
That would explain.
So Combatant is notorious for being a double stick program. So
not notorious in a bad way, just well known for.
I mean, really, if we're talking Remy Prace's Modern Arnis, there are no double stick techniques. There are double stick drills to build attributes. So
I like that.
We would do. I don't know who's asking for a private hooker. Okay, pirate hooker. Whatever, same thing here. And the difference between modern and traditional for us newbies. Modern, okay, listen, it's not traditional. Okay. Remy Praces created a system called Modern Arnis, so it's not us teaching a modernized Filipino system. It was the late Remy Praces who created this system, saved Filipino martial arts in the islands, became a diplomat for the Philippines. So Remy was flown by the Filipino government around the world with diplomatic papers to promote their martial culture. Now, the big thing that Remy did, and I think a lot of this came from the Balintawak. So Balintawak was the last art he trained before forming Modern Arnis in 1957. Because of the short range in Balintawak, it forces a lot of stick-on-stick contact. But I do the ungroup methodology. I also do the group. But in the ungroup, there's a lot of stick-on-flesh contact.
You teach Balintawak? That's not grouping system based?
Over 20 years.
Oh, dude, I got to come see you, man. Dude, for that.
Okay.
Oh, man.
You see how Modern Arnis took a backseat for him?
No, because no. Look.
So just to give you an idea, okay, my teacher was Ted Buat, not Sam, but Ted.
Okay.
Ted was the guy who would teach for Anshan when he wasn't in the club. Ted was the heir of the system, but he didn't pick it up.
Yeah, I'm interested to see your methodology about how you teach Balin to walk without the grouping system.
I actually do a slight. Well, I do a slight hybrid with the two now, but
Teach me the old way where I get to
I'll do that.
feel
I'll do that.
the pain, man.
Feel what was that?
The pain, like you gotta get hit. I think if you're gonna learn Balin to walk, you gotta get hit. Like that range, you're getting smashed.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. I was.
I want those feeds to be honest, is what I'm saying. Like, if
no, it'll be honest, but
okay.
Feel the pain is Bobby's. No, it's Bobby's slogan. It's not Balintawak's slogan.
Sorry,
there's a difference.
I didn't mean for it in that way. I understand that. No, I mean make contact. I mean,
yeah. And we actually use sticks that'll hurt you, so that'll even be better too.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I didn't know you. How do I not know this about you?
20 plus years.
Sick.
No, because people put me in that category that they don't want me to be in, you know.
Right.
You know, there's an interview that we did with Tim that you could watch.
Paulo doesn't. Well, he doesn't listen.
I don't even watch my own stuff.
He's
right? You're not supposed to.
He's smoking or drinking something.
Yeah, once it's live and once it's not. It's like reading yesterday's paper, you know.
Yep.
I love the live stuff.
Yeah. So, okay. So, anyways, so Remy, because of the short distance of Balintawak, it forced a lot of stick-on-stick contact. Not exclusive, but it forced it. Remy looked at that and said, "Wow, people can still train because one of the reasons why people stopped doing Filipino martial arts. I mean, even today, except for the kids doing it as a sport in the school, Filipino martial arts is the minority in the Philippines.
Yeah,
karate and taekwondo are still more popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Remy looked to see what FMA had, or no, karate had that FMA didn't. And one of what he did the belting system, he did a uniform, he did forms. And he still taught the Filipino martial arts, but he also did it from a point of self-defense, and he went on stick because people can train all day long,
right,
and at most get blisters, but they already, you know, the Pinoys were already used to that because they were laborers. But like Monong Ted, my Balintawak instructor, would talk about stories how we had this one guy who was a piano player, and he lit him up with his own stick, and he couldn't play piano for 2 weeks. If you had to provide for your family, and that was the way you do it.
That was weird. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't happen there. Yeah. So Remy, one of the big things, one of the trademarks I would say is modern Renes from the teaching structure, is that Remy went stick on stick. And he goes, yes, you could always hit the hand, but let's practice the safe way so we can all continue to train. And these are that's probably the biggest contribution I think that he made, you know, and along with, and because like he was the first to do uniforms, belts, and all this other stuff. Dulce Paros followed. A lot of other people followed. I mean, you've been to Luneta. You know, everyone's wearing those tops, and guess what? Those were American sport karate uniforms that Remy happened to pick up, brought back to the Philippines, and then they all copied it.
Right on. Okay, one more question, then I got to bounce.
Okay.
In either modern Renes or Balintawak, do you have any cross-checking techniques? Two hands, because at that range, man, I need to get this dude off me.
So
I need some clinch prevention stuff.
I do it. You know, okay, listen, Remy gave us a formula. He taught us, he used a specific technique to teach a concept. So I do unbraced blocking, which is, you know, one-handed. I do braced or reinforced. And then I do dos manos, which would be, you know, because one of the things I train with lately is axe handles. And I don't know many. Okay, I don't care if you have the skill set to block something one-handed. Will your students have that skill set?
Yeah.
You know, I use dos manos all the time.
Cool. Yeah, I need that. I mean, I love getting into clinch, but I need to need some clinch prevention stuff.
Well, we can talk. You know, let me know. I'm around most of the time.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Yo, keep doing what you guys are doing, man. This modern Arnis, FMA talk, Martial Chronicles.
Oh, look at it. It's FMA Talks Martial Chronicles. So I changed it. I got rid of the Modernese for tonight because it was Dog Brother-esque.
I see. All right. Well,
All right, brother. Well, we'll catch
Thank
you
you,
next time
guys.
around, and let me know when you want to
Yes.
stop down.
all right. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, ciao. So, Rich, let me see. That was a short hobby. Modern Arnis.
Short hobby, yes, it's a short hobby. Only
And then, hey, y'all.
Team Prenko. Team
Hey,
Prenko.
we got the Prenko. Oh, so next week, Dean Prenko will be our special guest.
He's pretty special.
He's special. No, we like him.
Love you, Dean.
Don't know why he likes us, but we like him. Well, hey, let me see. Do I have another comment? I got another comment. Man, one of these comments keep from. Okay, for Apollo. Okay.
For Apollo, what? I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but that's okay. All right.
No, that'll be good next week. I will be in Salt Lake next week, so that'll. If I can do it, I will. If I can't,
Yep, you're welcome there, Paulo. Okay, so next week is tentatively both going to be Ty and I. If not, I'll be running the show by myself. We'll have our special guest Dean Prenko, and Dean, who's watching at the moment, he knows how this goes. So
Yeah.
I'm going to freestyle it. You know, I don't want a bunch of. I want it to be organic. You know, we've got a good methodology here for the modern people, and I like the direction that it took with Rene.
yeah, I think we branched out a lot of areas, and hopefully it was interesting. It was interesting for me, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, I don't care if anyone else didn't like it because I do this for us.
Yep.
And hopefully people get into it. All right, so boom. Okay, this weekend I will be in. Where will I be? I will be in Salem, Massachusetts.
This weekend, nice.
This coming weekend, I'm going to be there, teaching a seminar.
Yes, at Mike and May's, right?
Mike and May Martial Art Research Institute. I had to think of that. I had to go do that in my head. It's Mari. And there'll be several of us teach. There'll be people teaching. And those people, and here, I'm going to share that right now because I can. Share screen. There we go. Boom. There is the seminar.
Nice.
So we've got me, Alex, Sifu Alex, and then Guru Mike, and special guest Master Ben. So
Nice.
that's a good picture of me. That was when I was younger. So that's next week, and then the 30th, you're doing your event, which is
The spring FMA thing, the ninth annual one.
the 9th one, and then I'm going to be doing that same day. I'm up in Ontario, so I'll be in Canada.
Oh, but before that, we're going to be up in New Hampshire, right?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, there's other. I got my next immersion seminar on the 2nd of April.
Right.
Then April 22nd and through 24th, we're at the Martial Arts Symposium 2022. If anyone's interested in getting tickets on that, I can hook you up with that.
Yep.
April 30th, I am in Cambridge, Ontario for and this thing's Combat Modern Earnings for the Streets. And that's not Photoshop, but it is turned around. So, and then the next one, the big one for us is I can't get to it that fast. Too many things pop up all at once.
65th anniversary of Modern East.
Yes, Modern East 65. That's the big one for us.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yep. How many arts have lasted that long?
Right.
Okay. So, and there's probably a whole bunch of things that we're going to be talking about. I'm waiting for PG Chad to give me a date for him and our friend, which
Nice.
that's going to be a surprise. I'm just going to announce it when it happens.
Okay.
Or once we get it locked in, I'll put that out there. Let me see here. What's this here? Ty, you better be there.
I will try.
Oh, because he's got a secret about you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, tell you what. I mean, if I'm stuck at the location and can't get there, I will still get in there late. How's that?
Okay. All right. Well, if he's stuck there late, he'll get there late. Okay. Got it.
Yes. You know what I mean.
I know it. I'm just giving you a hard time because I'm that dude.
Yep.
All right, everybody. So listen, as always, please, everybody, stay safe and stay sane. This is, I gotta get rid of that.
Oh, and I've actually, I'll say this since you're doing that. I'm getting the jots out now. Weekly, I'm doing another Modern East jot each time.
Yeah, you just did a jot, right?
One came out Tuesday. No, one came out last Tuesday, and another one's coming out Tuesday again tomorrow morning.
And the jot is just one thing.
Just one thing in Modern East. So I guess I got 4 of them already done, and another seminar snippet.
You got at least one coming up on that was done off.
3 of them coming up that we did on site.
Location. There we go. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
And a guest jotterizer, PG Craig, doing one.
Jotterizer.
Yeah, and that's good.
You've been jotted.
That's right. So anyway, yeah, you guys, check those out. All of the things we can do to spread, I think, helps everybody. So I'm trying my little piece.
Okay, cool. So we'll see you all here next week. Please, as always, everybody still stay safe and stay sane. This is Datu Tim and
PG Tye. Take care.
All right, see you all soon.